Let's go out to the Toyota of Hollywood guest line. Shop over 2,000 Toyotas on sale at one location at Toyota of Hollywood on 441 between Hollywood and Sheridan, and toyotaofhollywood.com. And there we will be happy to be joined by Ricky Williams. Ricky Williams joining us here on the show. Ricky, how are you, man?
I'm great. Thank you.
Thanks for appreciate you joining us, man.
Real quick, what was the longest period of time you missed due to injury?
6 games.
6 games?
6
Okay.
games.
What was the injury?
I tore my pec.
Ooh.
Oh, yeah, that was Monday Night Football, wasn't it?
Yeah.
Oh, that was
Man. Yeah.
And also I missed 6 games when I broke my ankle. Those are
Right, but that's in 10 years.
Yeah.
Right, right. Like I don't understand, and maybe you can help me out with this. We've gone out of our way to protect guys from getting injured in the most physical sport in the world. And they seem to be getting hurt more because they're not prepared for the most physical game in the world.
Yeah. Yeah, that's fair. It's fair.
It's been a rough week, Ricky. Obviously for the Dolphins fans, I think they knew they were coming into a season with a lot of I guess a lot of expectations and hopes that this was going to turn around, and then you get absolutely stomped like that. I mean, have you seen, I guess, some of the reaction of the Dolphins getting boat raced the way they did in week 1, and what have you made of it?
No, I haven't read much. It's I don't read when teams I follow do poorly.
It's healthier.
It's depressing.
It is.
And I've been there. Everyone piles on. And to me, losing early in the season like this is much better than losing later in the season. And I think the teams that lose early like this have the ability to make the corrections so that they can get better and improve. I think one of the things that I've always believed that football fans overreact about is anything that happens in the first 4 weeks of the season is an overreaction.
Listen. Don't get it, maybe, because you've been as upset as anybody, Leroy. You were coming in saying this was going to be 1 week, and you've been furious with the coach ever since we've come here on Monday.
But it's for different reasons. It's not for the win or loss. I have never mentioned the win or the loss. I have mentioned if you have a guy, and Ricky, you can kind of help me out. If you have a guy who left your team 3 years ago, and he can still prepare with the stuff that you're running when he was here, then as an offensive guru, you don't have any nuance to your offense, and they do a zone blitz and park a traffic cone right in the window where you're going to throw it, and you still throw it to him. I have a problem with that. Not the fact that they lost or not, but the fact that a guy who was here 3 years ago can help the defense set up to defend you.
Like I said, I think it's healthy to have reactions, but I think it's not helpful to overreact because obviously there are things that need to be addressed. And it's like a relationship, there's things that come up in a relationship, but there's also that lingering thing that's always there, And I think as a fan, we can complain about what we see topically, but a lot of us, especially Dolphin fans, we got wounds,
Yes.
And so when we see things that are deep that haven't been addressed, right? It can tend to lead towards an overreaction. Yes, I think so.
Well, do you ever remember that? Like, is it different? Like watching reactions, I'm sure it is, just after playing than as opposed to playing. Like was there ever a season that just got off to like a rotten start, week 1, 2, and did you have that perspective, or did it feel like, oh my God, there's urgency right away?
I think as a player, I always tried to, but as a player, the quality of your life is so much determined by the tightness of your coach's butthole. So it depends on the coach. I remember my second year in New Orleans, Jim Haslett was the head coach, and we started off 1-2. And he pulled me aside and he said, look, these things happen, they happen in chunks. You just got to stick with it. And then we went on to win 6 games in a row. So It's all about how you handle the onslaught, the difficulties. If you panic and start pointing fingers, you're done. Right? If you say, okay, we got to fix this, then you got a chance. And then you start to get to week 5 and 6. And if you've been trying to fix it and you still haven't, then it's time to overreact.
That's that. So like you would say with this team in particular, do you feel like it's even more, or do you feel like that's still a fair time, like 6 games into the season, or if they lose this week, everyone's going to be in red alert mode?
You got to give them till week 4. You got to give them till week 4. Right. And what you want to see is not necessarily winning. You want to see that the issues are being addressed.
Yeah.
And if a team can show you that they can address issues, they got a chance. If they show you that the internal workings, they can address issues, they don't have a chance. You know, when I played for Tony Sparano, we had good teams. I think we played above our level, but when issues came up, our internal, the way we worked, we couldn't fix anything. You know? And so even though we were good and we were 2 years in a row, we were on the edge of the playoffs, but we couldn't address the things we needed to address when it was important, and we couldn't do it. But I think you learn to address things by, unfortunately, things that show up early in the season. But if you can show that you can make an adjustment, you got a shot.
Sure.
You think that's too many weeks, Leroy?
No, because Ricky, I always ask him, because fans tend to base everything off of winning and losing. And what I would ask him is, can your team be better than it was the year before while not having the same amount of success? And some of the things that you're talking about lend to that. And I would say that, especially now with nobody playing in the preseason, you almost have to prolong your opinion to what your team is or not, because a lot of it they're picking up on the fly. The physicality, how they're going to run the football, stuff like that. You're picking up on the fly because you haven't really experienced it the first couple of weeks of the season. But as soon as the Dolphins lose, it goes to, we haven't won a game in 25 years, playoff game in 25 years. And like some of these guys weren't even alive. What do they care?
Yeah. Did you were those past playoff no win? Like, did that linger at all when you played here?
Well, because when I got to Miami was a perennial playoff team, but we didn't win for a long time, 6 years, 7 years until we won a playoff, 6 years until we won a playoff game. And then we've seen what's happened. So before I got there, there was the expectation. And after my first year, when we didn't make the playoffs, the expectation started to disappear. So it was more like, this is where we are, and we're pretty good. But, until we make some great big changes, we're not ever going to have a shot to make a run at the Super Bowl. But for some teams, being a playoff team, that's good enough.
Yeah. From your standpoint with this team, like they talked so much about getting more physical this year, and I know Leroy, I know you both were not afraid of that physical style, and it kind of drives him nuts. I know sometimes to see them try and do everything outside. Like, do you feel like that's something that is possible to change from a coaching perspective? Like, if Mike McDaniel has one thing, can he get back to it this year? Like, is that something that is doable as far as a coaching philosophy is concerned?
That depends on the coach. It's kind of what I was saying earlier about making adjustments. I think a football coach is like a preacher, a good one, because you got to get everyone on the same page. So when you are giving the sermon, they all get it and can listen and try to execute. And so it just depends on the relationship the head coach has with the team, that they trust. Trust is the most important thing. If a coach keeps changing things up and nothing is working, it's easy to lose trust. A coach sticks to his guns and makes small adjustments to get his philosophy through. I think that's a coach like that has a much better chance.
What have you thought about your alma mater, Arch Manning? That's another guy's dealing with a lot of expectations and like the whole spotlight on him. Do you feel like he's going to get that time to actually develop with everything on him?
He'll be fine. I think I think he's met the hype monster in real life. It's one thing to hear about it, but when you meet the hype monster, right, you know. And I think he knows now. So I have faith. Again, it's early in the season.
Yeah.
Way too much hype, but the kid can play. So hopefully Sark can do a good job keeping things quiet around him and helping him focus and execute.
What do you got? You coming down to Florida anytime, Ricky? You got any events or anything coming up? I know sometimes you'll get out on the road.
Yeah, there's a conference I usually get down to in Miami early October. So I'll be down next month
with Heisman.
Yeah, exactly.
All right, very cool, man. Well, listen, I'm sure Dolphin fans are going to be looking forward to seeing you.
Yeah. This was fun. Hopefully their team starts winning. So
yeah,
I'm telling you, it goes bad really fast in Miami. Again, you get to week 4 and they haven't shown anything, right? Dolphin fans, a lot of them, not all of them, right? They quit.
Yeah. No, it's gonna be all of them this year. All of them. It's gonna Ricky. If you can feel what we feeling down here after week 1, at week 4. Oh
no, you nailed it when you said we have a lot of pain, and you can already know you probably already know the routine. It's like you can already feel like, oh, it's at that moment right now, and I feel like I don't know where they go from here, but I know I'm kind of worried for if it goes bad, the fans at home, because at least the last game was on the road. This one's going to be in their building, and man, I imagine it's got to be a rotten feeling as a team where you're like, oh man, this fan base we've lost them in week 2.
Yeah, that's no fun at all.
Ricky, we appreciate it, man. Thanks for the time.
Thanks for having me.
There you go. Ricky Williams, former Miami Dolphins running back. Always appreciate when he gives us time on the show.
I want to punch you in the eye right now.
Why, dude?
Because some of the stuff that he started with, I have said to you over and over again. And then you're shaking your head with him. Yeah, I see what you're saying, Ricky.
I see what Ricky's saying. Well, Ricky's very. No. Hold on. That's not fair. That's not fair. That's not fair. First of all,
honest.
You have not behaved like that this week. Okay, you have not been prospective Polly this week.
No. Again, if you listen to anything that I've complained about, it has been nothing to do with the loss. I have not talked about. In fact, I have been one of the guys who has said, I don't necessarily agree with the unprepared, the this, and I'm not going down that road. And then I said, but I do have a problem with this. And that really gets to me when a guy who was here 2-3 years ago can come in and say, let's defend this play, and you're still running it. Yes. I had a problem with that, but you have never heard me say anything about how bad they lost or what,
dude.
Dude,
let me tell you something.
Haven't.
Hey, listen, I'm going to turn the honest tree back on you. All right,
go.
You felt Ricky's zen as well, and I think that calmed you down. But you, my friend, have been on edge all week.
And I told you
you had a cardiologist. And that is not perspective.
I told you what I was on edge about. It had nothing to do with the win or the loss of the game.
I understand, but but the fact that they didn't play well and they did lose.
Again, don't try to twist my words. I understand losing early and what that means. But what I had a problem with was the play calling and what they were. You should not be running the same plays that you were running 3 years ago without any nuance or any adjustment to it. You shouldn't. That's on any team. All the teams watch film, right? They get your film of every game. So if you're running the same damn plays, guess what? When you play Baltimore, traffic cone right in the middle of the field. I promise you.
Well, week 4, Ricky said, just, patience.
But I've said that. I've said that all summer. Did I not?
You did. And then week 1 happened.
And I told you what I had a problem with. But you never heard me talk about win or losses. You never heard me talk about that.
Didn't feel like I had to. I thought it was built in.
Whether you're implying it or not, I was not talking about the score. I wasn't talking about any of that. What I was talking about is what I saw on the field and why I had a problem with what was going on offensively with this team. That's what I had a problem with.
I don't like that Ricky came here like almost like a war hero though, and he goes, "Oh, the Dolphin scars."
Yeah.
And I was like, "Oh no."
He's like, yeah, I did 2 tours in Nam. right. That's what it sounded like, right?
No.
He said, and both my stints with the Dolphins. Yeah, man.
I remember that injury, that pec injury. He got stepped on.
Oh,
That was brutal.